I want to go over very briefly some of the concepts in wind transport and wind processes. And like I said last week, you're really going to be looking at how things get moved from one spot to another, what erosional landscapes look like, and what depositional landscapes look like. So wind will be a lot like water in that the erosion and the transport material are very similar. They're both fluids, but water has a much higher viscosity. So aeolian transport is much lower, much thinner. The term aeolian, A-E-O-L-I-A-N, or eolian are used interchangeably. Remember that we're talking about desert landforms and refer back to that concept of where the deserts happen. And they happen on either side of the tropics where you have descending cool, dry air or hot, dry air. Remember that the moisture has been removed as air ascended over the equator. And then you can look at a map and kind of look at some of the arid and semi-arid regions in the world. And again, these are really located around the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. When we look at wind processes, you're going to look at deflation, which is the removing of things by lifting or moving them up in the air, or abrasion, so one particle grinding upon another. So in deflation, you can also have materials moved by suspension, and I think the book talks about this in his diagram, and I mentioned it in the reading guide, but I don't think he explicitly discusses that. So you can have suspended material in a stream. When that comes to rest, the material falls out. The same with wind. Some of the biggest dust storms are material that's being moved, deflated material, as suspended particles. When the formation of desert pavement is pretty fascinating in that deflation removes some of the finer materials, and the heavier, larger pebbles are left over, and over time this degrades or lowers the land surface, leaving behind a surface of cobbles and pavement, which is called desert pavement. And this has been pretty here's an example of desert pavement in the real world, and that's my trusty knife that some TSA agent took away when I forgot to take it out of my pocket. Sad. Anyway, one of the things they talk about in the textbook is this the fact that those desert pavements are very environmentally sensitive areas, and in fact one of the biggest issues in Desert Storm was that we had trucks and equipment riding over these fairly stable landscapes, desert pavement landscapes, and broke apart the cobbles and activated the fine material and made that able to be deflated. With abrasion, you're looking at material sandblasting on other material, and there's a couple landforms that are created by abrasion. One landform is called a ventifact, which means wind-shaped, and it's actually rocks that have been smoothed or grooved or pockmarked as a result of wind-blown material. So this is an example of wind erosion on the coast. Here's another example of a rock that has been ventifacted. And in fact, these grooves are an indication of historic or paleo climate